Hey everybody, it's Tafony here once again, and today I am rambling about the Intellijel Planar 2. I'm pointing at a logo that isn't there. It is a joystick module for Eurorack. It is the updated version of the Planar 1, obviously, but the reason I point that out is because I have experience with the Planar 1. I had two of them at one point, but I never had the version 2 until now, and I am grateful today to be once again borrowing this entire controller case full of control modules from our good Europal Mariusz. So thank you so much for that, as I will be saying many times in these coming videos. But before we get into the video itself, the quick disclaimer: I'm not affiliated with Intellijel. However, I may exhibit some bias towards liking them, as they are a local company here in Vancouver. I used to live like walking distance from the factory, and I've purchased some things directly from the factory, and they're always super nice to me, etc. I don't think I'm gonna realistically, I always say, it's not journalism. I don't do any hard-hitting criticisms. I'm just rambling about. This is supposed to be a video blog of sorts. I'm not here to assess it for you, sell it to you, present it to you, etc. But if anybody has a place of bias in my world right now, it's probably Intellijel, because I like them for being local legends, I guess. But anyway, with all that being said, I don't own this. I'm not trying to sell it to you. They didn't send it to me or anything. I'm borrowing this. Before we get into it here, it more importantly sounds like this. Planar 2. I mentioned I had Planar 1, so I'm going to make a bunch of comparisons to it naturally, but I also currently have the Ericsson's Joysticks 2, joystick, single stick, and I really like that one. However, when I was getting it, the big glaring elephant in the room was, do you get the Planar 2 or do you get the Ericsson's joystick? Now, ultimately, it was hard to decide for a couple of reasons, and I'll probably make a bunch of comparisons to that here too, just because it's kind of, you're always drawn to make comparisons, obviously, but it was one of the, when it comes to picking stuff out, usually it's like, okay, I found a module that does what I want, right? But when it comes to joysticks, it's really like Planar 2 and the Joystick 2 were like hard to, shoot out between the two of them. But I'll quickly say, both of them, I believe the Planar 1, at least in the configuration I had, and I know there's different panels to that one, but it had all of the outputs at the bottom, or all the jacks in the bottom, and the joystick at the top. I don't know why you would want that, but thankfully the Planar 2 and the Joystick 2 both have their joystick at the bottom. Now, Planar 1 did not have these recording settings, which are very cool, very useful. I found it was really fun to use it as a mixer, which it still is on board here. But ultimately, when I was deciding between the Joystick 2 and the Planar 2, I was thinking that I appreciate the smaller size a little bit more and the lower price a little bit more. And while one of the big things that the Planar 2 can do that the joystick cannot is be an audio or CV mixer. I don't know if I've ever done any CV mixing, but being mono and a mixer, I would want to do performance mixing stuff here, moving the joystick around to mix between different voices and whatnot. But being mono, I don't know, it's kind of like an end of chain thing for me, so I just figured stick to the joystick, because it was cheaper in a way, was probably the largest reason. But it's a little bit different laid out, right? Here we have there's CV inputs into it as well, not just into the mixer side, because I think it's AC and DC coupled on these inputs, but it's just like the focus is a little different. There's also different channels here, or on the Joystick 2, where the Planar 2, it's, it's sort of, you get one recording, one setting, where in the Ericsson's Joystick 2, you get 4 different separate distinct channels, and I may make a video shooting them out head to head to sort of talk about those things more, but I've already talked about them a lot here, and I just want to get that out of the way because those are the first things that come to mind when I'm jumping into this one. That's my background, that's where I'm at. However, I do really like the Planar. The joystick itself here is a lot stiffer, a lot more resistance than the Planar 1 for sure, and even more so the Ericsson's Joystick 2, and it feels a lot more better quality than the Joystick 2. The Joystick 2 has some like dead zones in these corners, and this just feels overall like way more intentional. And if you were using it to mix, this feels just like, I don't know, better quality, to be totally honest. Like, and you might appreciate the lightness of the Joystick 2, like being able to flick it easier, because like, okay, if I put one finger on top of this thing, if I want to use that as a mixer, you kind of gotta like put a lot of pressure down just to make it move, right? But if I have the Ericsson Joystick 2 and it's in the case behind me, I won't make this entire video about that one. It is very easy to flop around, and depending on your taste, you might like that or you might not like that. You might really want to wail on the joystick to flip it around, but the Planar 2 I would definitely describe as like more sturdy. Anyway, joysticks are great. When I first was getting into demoing some modules, when I first started this channel, I felt like joysticks were like a godsend for demonstrating how something can receive modulation, because it's hard to, like, when an LFO is always going and you're trying to say, okay, now I'm going to patch the LFO into the, I don't know, pitch or something, or I want to just like demonstrate it, I have to narrate it to you. But when it comes to demonstrating something with a joystick, I can just, okay, speaking of, let's just get into doing some of that before I ramble away without giving anything for your ears to chew on. So I think what might be one of the easiest ways to demonstrate voltage, again, it's kind of tough to, I thought about even pulling the oscilloscope out today, but then I'm like, if you have all these different outputs, how do we really do that? So I think maybe the easiest way to demonstrate some of how the workflow is to patch into the cutoff of our WMD Overseer, which is my master DJ filter. And then I'll just have like a really simple sequence running, and from there you can just hear like we'll patch it into different outputs on the Planar side, and then we'll do some wiggling to show you how that works. But I think it's going to be really apparent is basically what I'm after. I want to make something that's super easy to hear, and that is super loud. Okay. Sorry, hold on. Take current distortion down and get sequence going. So plasma voice first. I'm actually gonna, hold on. So totally bypassing the overseer right now, but let's bring in some of our other stuff. Let's get 4 on the floor. I don't want to reinvent the wheel here. Sorry, just get some kicks going. Simplest sequence. I just want to demonstrate what the Planar can do to the filter. So we have 4 outputs for the A section, B section, C section, and D section. Then there is the 4 cascading inputs, and then dedicated X and Y outputs, and these can be in either, let's mute this for a moment, sorry. These can be either unipolar or positive only. So right now they're positive only. So if you look, if I'm in my X axis all the way over, it's all the way positive. and then my y-axis all the way up, all the way positive, all the way down, all the way negative. So if you switch them into unipolar mode, you'll see there's negative voltage in this corner. If we sweep over to this corner, they're both in the totally positive section. I hope I demonstrated that right. It's been a long time since trigonometry, forgive me. But yeah, if you see in this corner, totally neutral, this corner, totally positive. Now, when it comes to something like the overseer that I'm going to send a voltage to, if I do it like this to demonstrate, we're taking the Y output. If we bring it up, we can totally sweep it out of auto territory, or bring it back down. Now, in terms of like how you use this, I'm going to bring my filter down on the filter side, so that where I send it positive voltage, it doesn't land as far. Now, these attenuverters, the 410 is screaming beside it, but I want to keep going with the demonstration. However, if we switch into unipolar mode, it'll be neutral in the middle. So let's bring my overseer back to neutral. Positive at the top, and negative below. So make sure your module receives negative voltage if you want to use that one, which the overseer does. And I love doing it in this way. Now there is CV inputs with their own attenuverters that you can sort of like meta change these outputs, if that makes any sense. And I think I need to demonstrate this to myself to make sure I understand it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to send an LFO from our PAMS Pro. Right now you have the Y output, so I'm going to increase it. If I do CV2, yeah. So see how we're almost using the planar as a crazy attenuverter, right? Now, we're modulating our X and Y outputs. And you can also record, which we'll get into in a second. So just consider, I always try and say in these videos like, oh, you can send this all negative or all positive. So maybe if I, just to, for fun, as a patch example, if we made this real slow, I can sort of meta modify all that LFO. So there's movement, but I can also, there's synced movement, there's clocked movement, there's an LFO that's going to it, but I can also sort of add a performance tool by use of the planar. Now, I wanted to demonstrate that first because you also can create your own LFOs by use of this recording setting, and there is an input to start and stop and play, I believe, CV of this one. So I'm just going to show you first here that if we're in the unipolar mode, if I want to record, I hit record, and then stop. And I'll show you this kind of quirk of it. And I don't think this actually one-shot mode is available on the Ericsson's Black Joystick 2. But what you do, it shows that it's arm because it's kind of pulsating, I think is the word, where it's like beating, right? So if I hit it once, it'll play back that movement I made. And I'm in loop mode, so it's going to keep going. But if you turn loop mode off, it'll do one shot. So that's an interesting performance tool. I never would have thought to like not have a looping mode, but the reason I came into this originally was to point out that you could make your own LFOs by recording it. So I'll hold this down to clear it. Sorry, I was covering the button up with my finger, but if we hit play now, it's gone. I'll filter it up here, so. And we'll hit loop and play, and boom, I have my own modulation source that I made, right? it's going to be very sine wave-esque, or very smooth, I should say, unless I like really jag away at it. But like, I like it. I like that performance aspect of it. I like, if you want your perfect modulation, just throw it in there, right? Now what happens, and I'm not asking this theoretically, I'm genuinely asking, let's clear out this recording I just did. If I send CV into the record input, I guess I'm not getting enough? No, it's playing. If I hit record, if I hit play now, I think it's going to clock it? Okay. I guess this is a very slow LFO. Let me speed that up too and see how it goes. Nothing happening while it's armed if we play. If I take it off of loop, is it going to play? Interesting. Okay, we are playing a loop. Maybe I recorded a super long loop was the issue there. Let's clear out that one too. There is a quadrant mode here, so you're either in recording for quadrant or looping is the two LED indicators, I believe. Now, this is a level of nuance that I'm going to go cross-eyed trying to explain in this video, but this side will show you ABCD. I think this is controlling the different routings at the top versus the XY. You can just disable the XY, and then so if you have a voltage that you like but want to keep using the mixing section up top, you can disable the XY, but it will jump back when you enable it again. So okay, I like where this filter's at. Turn it off. There's also a performance tool in there. That ready? When will the bass drop? When will the bass drop? Right? ABCD isn't going to affect anything at this moment because I'm not using any of the dedicated outputs, but sorry, bumping the camera. If I did want to use the dedicated outputs, if I went into the D output, so how much of the D am I sending it? Probably better way to phrase that. If I go into the B section, it's going to output less. I will say it's nice the LED indicators on the X and Y outputs. But that's okay. They're sorely missed here. What is nice about this thing too, though, if you dial in your mix and then turn this off, you can just get back into using the XY attenuverters as well. Just an interesting thing to point out there that, like, yeah, if you really, I mean, you probably aren't looking to use Planar as a precision mixer, I guess, but still, like, performance tools in there, right? And I try and always say, like, picture how you would use this, not how I am using it in the video, right? Because I'm never going to cover everything, and there are an impossible amount of things to demonstrate. Now, what I did want to demonstrate, though, you know, we can do some mixing. Why not? For fun. So let's mix our drums. If we take our mix out, so I run a sub mix on my current mixer, but in this case, we're just going to run it into the Planar for fun. Just to demonstrate, like, just remember, it's all, what do you say, it's DC coupled? And by that I mean, sorry, hold on, AC coupled is the word. It outputs volts normally, and then, so you don't need to use any of this. If I'm demonstrating how it audio mixes, just consider that those could be used to output set voltages that you are manipulating with the joystick as modulation for other sources. So hope that made any semblance of sense. But here we go. We are putting them all in. We've got our mix out into the 2. And I believe these are the inputs, aren't they? Yes, they are. Sorry, that was my mistake. I was plugging them into the inputs. These will cascade, I assume, based on those arrows as well, so keep that in mind if that's something you'd like to use. I'm going to throw our synth voice in there as well. So, we're mixing. In the first quadrant, we have A, our kick. Now, you got to be really precise if you want to completely mute everything else, but again, you're probably not coming to the planar for, like, crazy tight mixing, you know what I mean? But fun to do some modulation in this. And this is something that the Joystick 2 by Ericsson's can't do, but boy is it fun. If you were doing like a DJ set, and well, not a DJ set, you're being your own decks by creating your own music, but I love performance tools like this. Yeah, my hat's in that first quadrant. No, that's the snare. These are the hats. But here, let me try and dial in where you'd actually want to be. I feel like maybe the voice should come out of here and we'll just hear the drums. And let me turn them up as well. Yeah, that's how it works. Now, if I just went to the kick and the synth voice, sounds like a better song already, but what if my mix was evolving by use of the recording? So, one shot, not looping. If we turn to loop mode, have it move for us. Just a little bit, right? Anyway, I wanted to demonstrate how that would work if that's something that interests you. I really did enjoy doing some of that on the planar. It's fun to crossfade in a performance way, for sure. Let's patch back in some of our stuff to how it was before, because I think sort of the last thing I want to demonstrate... Hello. That is loud. Sorry. The last thing I want to demonstrate is our gate output. I'm sorry, SSF Ultra Kick. Sounds so good. Rambling about, not limited to anything even relevant. Anything that comes to mind, right? Yeah. So, what I wanted to show now is the gate output, and then I think this one will hopefully be a little more performance heavy, like I'll just noodle with it to show you what's going on. So on the Performer by Modbap, there are gate inputs, so I guess I'll say first on the planar side, while it's in motion, there is an output of this gate, so you can see while it's moving, the gate is on, and that will hopefully inspire, if this is something that interests you, of course, some ways you can use this performance tool. And my first thought is immediately scratching. Like, you want to manipulate CV with the joystick and then enable the, I don't know, whatever effect it is you want to choose. And I'm hoping, and I haven't tried this isn't like rehearsed or anything like that. I'm hoping that I can, I don't know, we'll do the X output. I don't know, we're gonna like try and scratch with the planar into the Performer. So Performer has a button input for receiving triggers, and I'm hoping to activate it based on that. I don't want to do that, I want to do this. Okay, we're gonna run into an issue too with my patch. My voice is going into there, so we're gonna just have to talk and then demonstrate it. But I'm setting the gate output. Here, you know what? I can move this. I'm sending the gate output into the button input of the performer, so whenever I move the joystick, it activates. So it activates, but then we'll do CV control over the knobs. And I don't remember which knob does which, so we're going to have to, noodle with it to find out. Sorry, it's a little bit cramped in there cables-wise, so I'm trying to get in there. Right angle cables can be neat, but they also cause some headaches when a lot's going on there. So how does this one sound? You know what, just for, okay, I'm gonna activate it manually. Okay. I think we want, that's gonna be like our mix and the last knob. Maybe we wanna start with the first knob. So this CV control over this first input. So first input is mix. We definitely don't want, we want our glitch effect to have full control over the output, basically. But I want to have control over the time over CV, so yeah. I don't know. This is division. So that's super quick. So, okay, here, let's try the glitch. If we do glitch, we can do a little bit of noodle. So if I turn this up, yeah. Block my face out completely. Yes, this is what I'm after. So let's try the Y output for some other modulation of, I don't know, the second parameter. Again, it's getting cramped down there, I'm sorry. Hitting buttons I don't mean to hit. Oh, I can control my mix. But again, because we're using the gate output, we can just stop it. If we let go of it, it stops. It's the reason it's over. It's because it's going to go. It's still going. All right, I'm tafony. The planar. The genuine choice of Eurorack. Just nothing like this in Ableton as far as I'm aware. Unless you're using crazy MIDI CC mappings or something, and there's always something. But you know what? These are the things that I love about Eurorack, just doing stuff like this. All right, I'm tafony. Thank you so much again for watching. I appreciate you. Take care, and I will talk to you soon.